can know everyone. So mythology has survived for thousands of years. It has evolved with time. Asking modern mythological writers is fine line yourself. Between research and imagination, creative freedom as well as a huge responsibility not to hurt the reader's sentiments. आज इसी बैलेंस को एक्सप्लोर करने के लिए we have two huge contemporary voices with us whose approach to mythology is very different as well as very powerful. With me today, I have Saksham Garg sir, whose approach to mythology is like an immersion. उनकी writing spiritual philosophy और storytelling को blend करती है and reflects on karma, rebirth, purpose and self-realization. On the other hand, we have Kevin Missal sir, known for its fast-paced dramatic retellings of ancient epics, which relives for the modern readers. And together, I believe that they represent the spectrum of modern mythology. So let's go on air with BooksWagon, and I really welcome you to the session and this discussion on research, responsibility, and reinvention. Writing mythology in the modern world. We are really glad to have you here, sir.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So my first question to you is mythology के बहुत सारे versions होते हैं, interpretations होते हैं, beliefs होते हैं. How do you decide that what you research and what to put on in a way that you maintain your writing with the belief of the readers?
So both of us?
Yes.
So basically my objective has always been to kind of make sure that जो मेरे thoughts है, जो मेरे themes है, which I want to carry forward, I kind of mix it with our myths, our history, our culture. So that kind of aligns with the vision. So basically होता है ना, every writer has a vision. So उस writer का अगर vision match कर रहा है with the culture and our epics and our myths, then that is how I kind of make sure that it's respectful, yet culturally centric, and yet modern because and relevant. Because मैं भी millennial हूँ, so like अब तो Gen Zs आ गए हैं, unfortunately, fortunately Gen Zs आ गए, but yeah, politically incorrect होना मेरा बहुत अच्छा, बहुत जल्दी हो जाता हूँ मैं, yeah, so that's my answer, yeah.
No, that's a prime example why writers are a lot better not on stage but in our rooms where we can edit our works before putting it out, because at times we end up revealing the truth. But coming back to the question around scriptures, it's a very good question because Hinduism has so many different iterations of the same sacred text, right? Predating to 5,000 years ago, where the earliest Rig Veda till the later editions, you've got the epics around the birth of Jesus Christ, and then obviously the more recent, the Purans, right? And throughout them, you've always got different iterations. Even the most popular story from the Puran, the Samudra Manthan, is one that has so many different iterations. Kumbh Mela mein log mante hain ki where the Amrit fell is where the location of the four kumbhs exists. Well, that's nowhere in the Vishnu Puran or any of the Purans that actually feature the Samudra Manthan. So I think for Kevin, who's read extensively for so many different books that he's brought out, and even for my reimagination, for us, the name of the game is to try and get to the core of the source and make sure that we're trying to bring forward the right iteration or the closest to the original source iteration to the readers.
Sir, as you spoke about the Gen Z, so my next question would be, do you think mythology still resonates strongly with today's fast-paced Gen Z?
I like how you gave a nice word to it, fast-paced Gen Z.
That's true, yeah.
So I think but that's good. See, the idea is, अभी recently हुआ था मेरे साथ, मेरे publisher से मेरी बात चल रही थी, and the same publisher who came out with a book, जिसमें I wrote around 1,20,000 words, which is Kalki book, Fingerprint से, that same publisher told me that now Kevin, people will not read इतनी बड़ी किताब. 1,20,000 words will be not easy, so you have to pull it down. So fast-paced होना, and initially I was like, yeah, how can they remove like 40,000 or 50,000 words of my book? But then I really thought about it and I was like, yeah, makes sense, because आजकल we are in a place where short-form content is working a lot, and I think you need to be very concise with what you want to say, as well as sharp and effective. ये तीन चीजें बहुत फर्क पड़ता है. So I think that is what I kind of agreed on, and we finally agreed on 80,000 words. So yeah, so fast-paced Gen Zs के लिए अब मैं किताबें निकालने वाला हूँ अब. So yeah, true.
No, awesome, and I'm curious to see how you managed to juggle, cutting out almost a third of the book.
Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, publishers. I've worked as a publisher as well, and as a literary agent, and we're always telling our authors that if you're just starting off writing a book, so if anyone here is writing a book, you have to keep in mind the word count. The genre that we write in, especially when there's world building in the first books, right? There are times when you're edging towards above 60,000 words, which can amount to over 300 pages in a B paperback size, right? These are both B paperback. But the truth is, in my opinion, I'm not referring to several of the newer generations that have said that they love mythology. No, I don't think that's a good test of identifying whether or not, the question you asked. What I am relying on is market trends, right? Especially in terms of reading, as well as what we see on social media algorithm, right? I create a lot of content where I'm talking in front of the camera, and the genres that I pick can greatly define how much reach it's going to get. And I think the social media is a great way to test out what is working and what is not working, because it is the younger generation that is primarily the audience for this still, right? And yeah, to answer your question in short, it is true. Mythology, or whatever you want to call it, stories, folklore, scriptures, continues to be and have that stronghold even in the younger generation, despite the fact that it at times defies the scientific bent of a lot of the newer generation. So that dichotomy and that juxtaposition does exist. Yeah.
So my next question is to you, Saksham sir. So Samsara, the book you wrote, it was also an experience, whole experience in itself for us Gen Z or all of us. So do you think that modern mythology risk become too commercial, like ये evolution मतलब survival के लिए necessary है या बस commercial purpose के लिए? The evolution, the modernization of the mythology, is it necessary for commercial purposes only or for a wider reach?
No, I think we have to go back to how much of this modernization that you're referring to is actually happening. It's not happening. Gita on the Go, Mahagata, these are great examples of books that are killing it as of this moment, and they're actually doing the opposite. They're not metamorphizing, they're not becoming more commercial, they're not changing and transforming to appeal to the younger generation. They're actually going back to their roots, right? I mean, Kevin himself is, I don't want to say things that we're not allowed to reveal yet, but he himself is, doing that, and it's working so well. In fact, one of the surprise reveals or the surprise blockbuster movies as of recently has been an aspect of the Vishnu Puran that is lesser discussed, but it's coming to the fore, right? So I'm not sure how much of this is happening, but for sure, almost truly I will agree on the fact that there are a lot more capitalistic forces at play today, at least in our subcontinent, in the country. So there is a lot of commercial motive as well behind the change that is happening.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Then my next question is for Kevin, sir. So in your books, we have seen that you have humanized gods, you have brought out their doubts, their flaws as well. So do you see this as a way of making mythology more accessible or more honest to your audience?
See, the idea has always been I'm a history student, so मेरा objective यही रहता है कि what makes sense to me, and I can, when I started writing myths, I could have easily went for the more hyper fantastical way of presenting our myths, but I kind of went, and I can also go in a very different way, which is Anand Neelakantan sir, Amish, they do that, which is more realistic, grounded, gritty way. So I kind of found myself in the middle, where basically it is fantastical, but at the same time it is very grounded. So and somewhere I did it very unknowingly. I never expected कि ये एकदम से click कर जाएगा readers से कि अच्छा यार ये हो सकता है. So and somewhere I feel that that's what also kind of symbolizes our belief system. That we believe in that little fantastical part as well as we believe in the grounded part. शायद से there is possibility that Kalki might come. We are living in Kalyug. What will happen? will he be eating vada pav as well, or will he not? I mean, these are the ideas which are, which are very, which can ground our figures. So yeah, so these are few things that I thought of when writing the book.
Thank you, sir. Well, my next question is for both of you. Like both of you are saying that you reinvent and you have been doing this for a long period of time. So, sir, if in today's world you were to curate mythology, if mythology was to be invented today, and you were to curate the first draft, put it into paper, so what would be your ideas? How would you present it to the world? First, how would you present the concept of mythology to the world?
Let me take this.
Yeah, you take this. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna try and not answer that because we're budding writers who are superficially just scratching the surface that is Hinduism and its scriptures, right? To even fathom and entertain the idea that we could add to it is quite big in itself. So yeah, I mean, to be very, very honest, like Kevin said, these books are a reflection of our belief systems, right? And the reason why we need not do this at all is because I was talking about this recently. So the oldest religious scripture on the planet, the Rig Veda, right, features someone called Aranyani, right, Ashoka Sundari, right, who is the goddess of the forest and represents climate change better than most of the gods that came after 2500 BC, the tantric gods, the recent gods. So you actually have Vedic gods and goddesses that are so relevant today, right? So I mean, hypothetically, even if as a scientific experiment, stories were to be created, they would ideally be created to center and recalibrate modern day society towards a better future, right? And the need of the hour, amongst many things, right? And I talk about this in my book, is the climate change crisis. And it's great because I didn't have to refer to any modern iterations or retellings or the scriptures, the Purans namely. I could refer to the oldest religious scripture that stays so relevant for the modern society. So in short, we don't need to get into this so much as just refer to the older stories and identify the gods that have perhaps been overlooked, that now stand more relevant than ever.
Ditto.
So my last question, like your work requires a lot of creativity as well as it contains a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
So where do you draw the line? Like where do you strike that perfect line of balance while writing?
See, the idea with writing our myths and writing our history is that we just have to make sure that it's focused on respect. I make sure I don't go out of my way to disrespect, and it's very easy to do that, And as long as you're conscious about what you're writing, it really doesn't matter. वो अपना आप ही वो respect script वो अपने script पे लिखेगी. I mean, you won't believe. I mean, in the last 8 years of me writing mythology, the most amount of time I've gotten legal cases on me is hardly 10. So yeah.
10 is not as much.
10 is not as all. I'm just kidding. I just got 2. All right. That's all. But yeah, that was fun because I kind of made them understand that we never reached the code, but I made them understand that hey, this is what I wrote. This is why I wrote it. This is where it's coming from. And they're like, oh yeah, well, makes sense. Thank you. Sorry, I'll buy the next one. So yeah, that's how it works.
No, I think that's as well as you can put it. And, in my objective assessment of publishing today in India, it still stays quite obscure and away from controversies, right? I think it is the bigger writers, a Salman Rushdie, that inevitably finds itself a target. But I have taken a very liberal approach, and I have gone to the extent, where I've put in my own thoughts. At that age, of course, we are an evolving understanding of things, and it shall change as and when we understand more about the scriptures and grow as writers. But at that moment, when I brought out the book, my thoughts and understanding of humankind and the role of God in stories comes into foreplay here as well. And been lucky that in this particular arena of publishing, we've been able to, I've felt, avoid scrutiny where it may have received the same had it come out as a movie, for example.
So, sir, before we end our conversation, what would be your message to our readers?
Uh, keep reading my books. I think as long as you're reading my books, I think I mean, it definitely helps me. So I think that should be it. And yeah, and read Saksham's book as well. you know, so that's my advice to readers. I think.
Yeah, and just even if not ours, just please keep reading. I think that's the best thing about the World Book Fair. Yeah, just everyone keep reading.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And order books from BooksWagon. Please, let's say it. Go BooksWagon.
Go BooksWagon.
Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
this session, and thank you everyone for being with us here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. You did a fabulous job. Thank you. Thank you.
Really good job. Thank you. Greatly modern.
Hi, my book's available at BooksWagon. It's my debut fantasy novel. Grab a copy.
Hi, my name is Kevin Missal, and I'm the writer of Karna After Death. Is the third part of the Karna trilogy, and definitely get these books, all the entire trilogy at BooksWagon only.